Hello friends, it's Miss Burke here. I'm doing another video on area perimeter of irregular shapes. So this question right here that I have posed is actually from one of our worksheets that we did. So if you want to take a look at the second worksheet we worked on, one that is entitled Area and Perimeter of Irregular Shapes, hopefully you can find it. It's the third shape that you would have worked on that sheet of paper. So if you want to follow along, you're more than welcome. So I have my shape here, and my very first step is to look and identify what sides are missing measurements, because I need to know these before I can calculate for a perimeter. So I'm going to start up at the top, right here, and find that missing side first. So I'm going to be looking to see how long this line is. So I'm going to look across from that line, and I notice that my 3 kilometer line plus my 2 kilometer line plus my 1 kilometer line, if they're added together, is going to equal the same length as my missing side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add them together. So I'm taking my 3 plus 2 plus 1, which gives me 6 kilometers. Okay, so if I were to bring this 2 kilometer line, one right here, and if I were to move it up to where this invisible dotted line is, you would notice that it would be the same length as our top line, the one we just solved for. So that's how I know that the right answer is 6 kilometers. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do, and erase all that. Next thing I'm going to do is find this missing side. Okay, and now the same strategy I used for my 6 kilometers, I'm going to use for this one. So I'm going to look all the way across my shape, and I can see very clearly that it is the same length as my 2 kilometer line over there. So I'm going to add in 2 kilometers here. Okay, and then my very last line that I'm going to work on is down here. And same strategy, I'm going to look across, and I can see that this 3 kilometer line is the same length as my missing line. Okay, so I'm going to add in 3 kilometers there. So now that I have all my sides, I can add them all up to find perimeter. So I'm taking 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus, oh, we're not multiplying, okay, plus 2 plus 6 plus 2 plus 1 plus 3. And so if I want to double check and make sure I have all my numbers, I'm going to count my sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 sides, so therefore I should have 8 numbers to be adding up. So let me count my numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so now I'm going to add up those numbers. So 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. 10 plus 6 is 16. 16 plus 2 is 18. 18 plus 1 is 19. And 19 plus 3 is 22 kilometers. So therefore my answer is 22 kilometers. Perfect. So now what we're going to work on is our area. So because we have this nice invisible line here, we have our irregular shape broken up into 2 regular shapes. Okay, so I'm going to start with my number 1, and I know that the formula for area is length multiplied by our width. So now I need to find out what numbers to plug in there to find the area of number 1, our number 1 rectangle. So I'm going to first find my width, and in order to help me out, I'm going to outline this in a different color so I can clearly see what rectangle I'm working with. So the length of my rectangle is going to be 2 kilometers, and that means that the width is going to be this long line up here. It's going to be our 6 kilometers. So I'm going to plug those two numbers in. So 2 times 6, which gives me 12 kilometers squared. So I'm going to go ahead and write that in the middle so I don't forget. Okay, and again, a lot of students might want to take the 2, multiply it by the 3, but again, that's only going to cover part of the shape. So make sure you're really looking at the whole shape before you pick your numbers. Okay, so now we're going to move on to number 2. And I'm going to also draw that in a different color so I can clearly see what sides I'm working with. Okay, so just like with number 2, or with like number 1, sorry, the area is going to be length multiplied by width, and my length that I can see is 3 kilometers, and my width is 2 kilometers. Okay, so I'm going to plug those two numbers in. So 3 multiplied by 2, which gives me 6 kilometers squared. So I'm going to write that inside as well. Okay, and then now for my final step to find the area of the entire shape, I'm going to take my 12 and my 6. I'm going to add them together, and that's going to give me 18 kilometers squared, and not forgetting our little number 2 up there. Okay, so this question was number 3 on your worksheet entitled Area and Perimeter of Irregular Shapes. So I hope that this helps, and if you have any further questions, please let me know.